Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum and a very good day. This is a video from group number 2 and our topic for the assignment is the factors that led to the fall of the Umayyad dynasty. I am Muhammad Syamil bin Abdullah and I'm going to start the presentation with the introduction. So basically, Umayyad dynasty was the first dynasty after the era of Khulafa al-Rashidin, which consists of 4 caliphate, Sayyidina Abu Bakr, Sayyidina Umar, Sayyidina Uthman and Sayyidina Ali. The Umayyad dynasty was established by Muawiyah bin Abi Sufyan in 661 Masihi after the death of Sayyidina Ali bin Abi Talib. So actually, Muawiyah was the administrator of Syria, which appointed by Khulafa al-Rashidin during Khulafa al-Rashidin era. So the Umayyad names come from the grandfather of Muawiyah, who was Umayyah bin Abdul Shams. So Umayyah bin Abdul Shams is basically the leader in Quraysh people who were rich and has a prominent figure among Quraysh people during his era. So the Umayyad dynasty was to range for around 90 years and starting from 661 Masihi to 750 Masihi. The center of the government during the Umayyad dynasty located at Damashq, replacing the center of government located at Madinah during the Khulafa al-Rashidin era. So the Umayyad dynasty actually has succeeded in achieving a lot of achievement during his era. The Umayyad dynasty also has succeeded in expanding the Islamic empire as well as conquering many kingdoms and the world power during its reign. The strength of the Umayyad dynasty can be proven as this dynasty has ruling which is lasted for 90 years. So basically, my contribution during this assignment is firstly, I am in charge for the part of introduction, and I also help my other members in looking for other main point in our assignment, which is the factors that led to the fall of the Umayyad dynasty. So based on my research, there are several books that I have read from online sources and also the books in the library. I found the content of these books and all these materials and sources are actually quite similar to one each other. And this actually has strengthened our point to be the truth. The next part is my experience while doing this assignment. First and foremost, of course, I have gained a new knowledge that I think is one of the most valuable thing because I never know certain part in this assignment. This is because this topic pertaining to Umayyad dynasty actually I have learned during my HTPM while I'm doing my Form 6. However, the scope that covered during my HTPM is very limited and it is not wide. While doing this assignment, I am actually starstruck because the fall of dynasty was actually different from the other dynasty that I've learned before. As this dynasty, actually, I would say that the main factor that led to the fall of the Umayyad dynasty is basically coming from the leader or the caliphate themselves. And after that, it created a lot of other problems occurred during that era. So this assignment is actually giving me opportunity to look at other side instead of only focusing on the achievement, the glory and the peak of that particular dynasty. So other than that, my skills in finding sources in the library also enhanced. This is because I went to library to find the sources, but it was really hard to find it manually. So I learned how to find the sources in the library by using the online platform provided by the library with the help of the staff. And it feels weird that I actually find this is interesting that you can read and touch the book itself instead of just reading it online and in ebooks, but this time I can read it physically. So the sources that I have relied upon while doing this assignment is the first one is the book written by G.R. Holling. The title is The First Dynasty of Islam, the Umayyad Caliphate, 2nd edition. This book is located at the level 3 in Darul Hikmah Library. So this book has several chapters and it is started with the introduction and the establishment of the Umayyad dynasty. Next, it focuses on the caliphate of the Umayyad dynasty and the achievement of the Umayyad dynasty. So at the end of the part of the book, it focuses on the fall of the Umayyad dynasty. This book is not too thick and it's not too short. However, I would say that I really enjoyed reading this book as the words used in the book is quite easy to understand. So the second sources that I relied upon during doing this assignment is the book located in also Darul Hikmah Library, the book titled The Waning of the Umayyad Caliphate, translated and annotated by Carol Hillerbrand. So this can be found in Darul Hikmah Library level 3. So the original book is actually not in English, but it has been translated to English. And also there are few copies of this book that can be found in the library. This book basically focuses on the strategy used by the Caliphate in the Umayyad to achieve all the achievement that has been made during its era. And at the end of the book, it still includes the factors that led to the fall of Bani Umayyad. So this is the experience that I really appreciate while I'm doing this assignment. So for the next part, I'm going to pass I'm going to pass this stage to my next presenter.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Mursyidah Binti Lukman Hakim, and my metric number is 2122936. So the job scope for me to complete this assignment is to explain the first factor that lead to the decline of the Umayyad dynasty. So among all the factors, I chose to explain and elaborate the factor of weaknesses of the Caliph during the Umayyad dynasty. So before I move further, let me give short summary of my part. So the point that I was in charge of explaining is the weaknesses of the Caliph during the Umayyad period. As we all know, there are more than one Caliph in one dynasty. Hence, this point covers all the Caliph in the Umayyad generally. So one of the roots of the collapse of the Umayyad was the fact that there were lack in the credibility of the Caliph. Starting from the governance of Muayyad ibn Abu Sufyan, the appointment of Caliph was changed to a hereditary system, where he chose his son to be his successor. So this led to the scholars like Ibn as-Sufai and Ibn Abbas to challenge the legitimacy and morality of the Umayyad rule, further undermining their authority and support. Besides that, the ruling elite engaged in lavish lifestyles and extravagant spending, while imposing heavy taxes on the general population. So this economic burden and disparity between the rulers and the people fueled resentment and discontent. Lastly, they were far away from the religious duties, the obligations and the prohibitions as provided in the Quran and Sunnah. Okay, now let's move on to the experiences that I gained from completing this assignment. So the process of searching the information was fun and interesting as I gained a lot of knowledges. However, completing assignments can be quite challenging, but a rewarding experience for me. So the first challenge that I encountered at first was the fact that I do not know the members of my group, as all of us are from different faculties. However, thankfully, all of us were very friendly and cooperative while in discussing our topic. So I am more than grateful that all of the members in my group did actually contribute to complete the assignment successfully. So the next challenge that I faced at first was to understand the history, as the last time I learned regarding Islamic history was when I was in high school. Hence, it was quite a good start for me to get back on track on reading the Sirah, as I personally think that there are lots of benefits that I will gain if I read Sirah or the history of Islam. Next, as a law student who is packed with classes from morning to evening, I was actually having trouble to manage my time to complete this assignment, as I have few more other assignments and midterm tasks to complete. Nevertheless, with the determination, I successfully finished my part in the assignment with the help of my friends, and I was grateful for that. So indirectly, there are also many benefits that I gained throughout completing this assignment. So the first and the foremost benefits that I realized that I gained was I was able to recap all the sirah that I learned during my high school and primary school. As when I entered the university, I was not provided with subjects of Sirah, so it was quite sad, but this is one of the opportunity that I still can learn Sirah. So learning Sirah provides knowledge that could benefit me in my daily life. So I am very grateful for that. So by learning Sirah, we are able to learn the characteristic, the attitude, and the way of life of the Sahaba or the Caliph. So this is on a way would help me to improve myself. So that's all from me.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Aida Fasihah Binti Ahmad Tarmizi, and I am from ICOL. I'm from Group 2 of Section 14 UNGS. So first I will explain or share about my contribution for this written submission. So the topic that we have chosen was the fall of Umayyad Dynasty. So my contribution will first, I give my idea on how to divide factors between each members of the group. We also discussed this matter on WhatsApp and Google Meet, and we try to meet as often as we can, since we are all students and we are very busy. We also discuss matter that we cannot discuss face to face on WhatsApp and Google Meet. And before starting my part on the assignment, I try to understand the topic first, the requirement, the objectives, and I also read the assignment instructions carefully to make sure that I didn't go astray from the topic given, and I also brief about the topic to my friends. And then I also did my research on the topic, which is the downfall of the Umayyad dynasty. I use online libraries and physical library at IUM. It was a bit challenging finding the information and sources there, and the staff at the library helped me to find all of the sources and guide me on how to find sources there. So they are very helpful. I also checked my points with my members in case our factors or points overlap with each other. And it was a bit challenging, but luckily my group members cooperate and give opinions on the matter that we have discussed. They also gave opinion regarding other dynasties so that we can compare and contrast, but we just put the points of the Umayyad dynasty. Then I did an outline and plan my points so that the points flow coherently. Plus, it would be more clear if I structure the point according to the storyline or the timeline. Next, my experience doing this assignment was the sources online was very limited, and the points in the books at the libraries were kind of repeated. And then moving on, there are some challenges that I face. First is lack of relevant reference. When writing an essay, I have to make sure I include an appropriate amount of reference and accurately cite them. Then as a student, I was kind of afraid to seek help whenever I feel stuck or disorganized or getting new ideas to help out on my researches when doing assignments. The good thing is I have a very supportive group members that had helped me through thick and thin, and also guide me through the whole journey of finishing these assignments. And lastly, the biggest issue that I had, and I'm pretty sure my friends and all of the students in the world had them too, which was the time management issue. So the students and time management could be said best friends and cannot be separated till death. And time management time should be managed wisely, because if not, last minute rushing to finish the assignments would result in a sloppy and messy outcome. And that would eventually affect marks, individual marks, and even group marks. So if we want to achieve higher grade, that would be a little inconvenient. And that is all from me. Thank you.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Siti Hajar Binti Abdul Jamal, metric number 2117470. I am one of the members of Group 2, which conduct a case study on the factors that led to the fall of the Umayyad dynasty. My subtopic is the the factor that led to the fall, which is the emergence of groups that felt dissatisfied with the Umayyad rule. So to ensure that this task can be completed well, I have spent 1 week to identify what is the factors that contribute to the fall, and I took another 3 days to make sure that the factors that I have found played a big role in the fall of the Umayyad dynasty, and I have started writing after that. So I have referred to 3 articles and 2 books that tell about the history of the Umayyad dynasty, and in all these references, I found that the direct reason that led to the fall of this kingdom is because after the group from the descendant of Al-Abbas bin Abdul Muttalib, which launched an attack by killing the caliph and also his followers before establishing the Abbasid kingdom. The reason why I choose this as the most important factors that led to the fall is because in all the references that I have referred, the attack, the story about the attack from Al-Abbas group has been placed at the end of the history of this kingdom. So it can be concluded that this is the most important factors that led to the fall of the Umayyad dynasty. However, when I was completing this task, I wondered how this group could be so strong until it can overthrow the government. So I referred to the early history of this kingdom, and I found that there were groups that feel not satisfied with the Umayyad rule since its inception. This group can then support each other and form strong groups that oppose the government, which led to the fall of this dynasty. And lastly, during my journey to complete this assignment, I felt very excited to because I was able to learn more about the history of the Umayyad dynasty and take the lessons from the story. And that's all from me. Thank you.
My name is Faridah Binti Yaakob, and let me talk about the findings from this research briefly. There were several major factors that contributed to the Umayyad dynasty's collapse, as has been mentioned by the group members. The first one is the weaknesses of the caliph, lack of political power, and the emergence of groups that were dissatisfied with the Umayyad rule. As a caliph, they played a vital role in ruling the country according to the Sharia law. However, from the research that was done during the Umayyad dynasty, in terms of the selection for the next caliph, instead of continuing the democracy concept during the period of Khalifah al-Rashidin, they changed it to the hereditary monarchy. On the other hand, politics in one country should be balanced and harmonized with other, as it brings a huge impact if it is not stable. Hence, in the dynasty of Umayyad, the political power was lacking due to the factionalization of Arab tribes and Umayyad politics that resulted in the corruption of the houses and the powerful elite, according to the research. Besides, the element of Asabiyah or factional should not exist despite having a different views and opinions, where Don't be too obsessed with each other's views or be quick to assume bad things about other tribes. And this phenomenon happened in Umayyad dynasty due to the dissatisfaction towards the Umayyad rule. Completing an assignment can be both challenging and rewarding. It always starts with understanding the task at hand and gathering the necessary resources and information. This might involve conducting research, reading textbooks or articles, and consulting online sources. Here are some difficulties that I experienced during the process of completing this assignment. The first one is the time management. This is the common problem where all students will encounter this, as the assignment and other projects must have deadlines. Managing my time effectively can be difficult. Balancing an abundant assignment with other commitments, such as coursework and job responsibilities, requires effective planning and organization. This is the process of organizing and planning how to divide my time between different activities. Get it right, and I will end up working smarter, not harder, to get more done in less time, even when time is tight and pressures are high. When I begin writing, I may encounter some obstacles along the way. It is common to experience the writer's block or feel unsure about how to start each section. Taking breaks, stepping back, and revisiting my outline can help overcome these challenges. I likely spend time refining my arguments, providing evidence or examples to support my points, and ensuring the writing is clear and concise. This process may involve multiple drafts and revision as I strive to improve the overall quality of my work. Next, as I did a finding part, I had difficulties figuring out what point and information should I include in that part. This is my first time doing an assignment that required me to do a finding instead of a summary. At first, I thought it was a similar with conclusion of summarizing the information. But when I do a research to understand what is actually the finding is, I be able to distinguish between both of them. Findings are the information we get or the conclusion we come to as the result of an investigation or some research. On the other hand, in an advantageous way, I can certainly obtain new knowledge from doing assignments, especially regarding the dynasty of Umayyad. Assignments are designed to help students reinforce and apply the concept they have learned in class. By engaging with assignment, I can deepen my understanding of the Umayyad dynasty and gain new insights on what factors lead to the collapse of this dynasty. This is because in this assignment, it requires me to conduct research on a factor that led to the fall of Umayyad dynasty. This research process allows me to explore different sources of information such as textbook, academic journal, online article, and other relevant materials. Through this research, I can discover new ideas, perspectives, and facts that expand my knowledge base.